वृषभर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुभागं सस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Last class we saw how Shravanam alone should bless one with knowledge and its benefit. We saw the benefits of knowledge. We saw what those two benefits of knowledge, how the twofold benefits of knowledge in terms of Videha Muktihi and Jivan Muktihi can be reaped, enjoyed along with the knowledge simultaneously through systematic, regular, committed study of the Shastram with the help of a competent teacher. If the study, systematic study, not simply any study, systematic study of the scripture with the help of the competent teacher for length of time does not really result in knowledge, attainment of knowledge, or the enjoyment of its benefits, then the problem should be only in terms of lack of preparedness. The qualification required for that knowledge. So if the person is not adequately qualified, not endowed with fourfold qualification, especially manasaha nigrahaha, especially the mental discipline, then definitely even if one gets knowledge, one cannot enjoy the benefits of knowledge. So if the person is not at all qualified, we saw that very clearly last class, even if the person has Purushartha Nischayaha, even if the person has the value, the knowledge of the value of the knowledge, even the person is committed to the pursuit of knowledge, and even if he is given to the study of the Shastram, the Shravanam, in terms of Shravanam, still if he is not qualified for that knowledge, then he must focus definitely on living a life of Karma Yoga, which means living a life of Panchamaha Yajnas, which means we should focus, we should live a very conscious, alert life, a dharma governed life, so that in due course of time he can become prepared. We saw that last class. Manasaha nigrahaha. We spent quite a lot of time on understanding what is mana nigraha. And so that is for the hina or manda or adhama adhikari. So adhama adhikari or manda adhikari, otherwise called hina adhikari, is not inferior. Only thing is not qualified. Any uttama adhikari must have been once upon a time a Hina Adhikari or Madhyam Adhikari. Any Madhyam Adhikari is going to become later on, can become Uttama Adhikari if he was before Manda Adhikari. Any Manda Adhikari also definitely has to make all possible efforts to raise himself into an Uttama Adhikari. That is what the idea. So how can a Hina Manda Adhikari raise himself into an Uttama Adhikari? For which all that he needs to do is, he must just do the Shravanam, but his focus must be more on living a life, a dharma governed life, in terms of living a life of Karma Yoga. So really the prayerfulness is important, worshipfulness is important, consciously living a life of dharma is important, above all, understanding the karma, the teaching, and also entertaining a proper attitude in performing actions, in facing situations also is very, very important. So this one should consciously take care of. That is why living a life of Karma Yoga itself is not an easy thing. People think, that it's even to live a life of Karma Yoga, one needs Bhagavan's grace. One must really make effort to live a life of Karma Yoga. That is why living a life of Karma Yoga means it's a worshipful life. The whole life becomes a life of worship. Isn't it? Therefore, here we see, and how difficult it is that Mano Nigraha, Manasaha Nigraha, how difficult it is, it said. We saw that 41st verse. Let us read it now. Utseka udadher yadvat Kushagrainaika binduna Manaso nigrahastadvat Bhaveda parikhedataha. So, Manasaha nigrahaha bhaved. Manasaha nigraha means the mental discipline in terms of adequate mental purity, and relative purity and steadiness, mental discipline. What do you mean a disciplined mind? A disciplined mind is a qualified mind. Mind which is eligible for grasping, understanding, and also for the knowledge to take place, and also for reaping the benefit of the knowledge. The disciplined mind is a relatively adequately pure mind. Relatively serene, calm mind. So absolute purity and the serenity of the mind will be possible only in knowledge. If the mind is absolutely pure and steady, that is the most, I told you, the most mature, strongest, evolved, mind is what? Absolutely pure and steady, absolutely pure and tranquil and serene mind. And entertaining such a mind is what? In what? Jivan Muktihi, which is the Jnana Phalam. But for Jnanam, you need, again we say, mental purity means. How can we have mental purity and serenity requirements? Is it absolute or relative? Definitely relative. Absolute purity and serenity is possible only after Jnanam, only as a result of Jnanam. Is it? But before Jnanam, you need to be mentally pure and steady means it implies what? Relative purity and steadiness. That relative purity and steadiness required for jnanam is accomplishable only by living a life of karma yoga. Isn't it? Manasaha nigraha. So such relative purity, so being endowed with relative purity and serenity, we otherwise called the relative qualification. The qualification required for jnanam. In terms of manasaha nigraha, mental discipline happens. Manasaha nigraha bhavet means bhavati. Definitely it happens. How it happens? Only when you really make all possible efforts, focus attention on living a dharma governed, a conscious, dharma governed, prayerful, worshipful, ethical, religious life. When you live, as a result of which you can have that manasaha nigraha. That's what, no, that's why it needs what now? It's not that one day, it's not that 1 month, it's not that 1 year, isn't it? Every day, in every action, isn't it? Every day, your whole life you live consciously. That is why that you should not lose hopes. It is very difficult. That's why aparikedataha, with all possible efforts, with all perseverance, aparikedataha, isn't it? With all commitment, with perseverance, aparikedataha eva bhavet. So manasaha nigraha katam siddhyati, aparikedataha siddhyati. Anirvedat, aparikedataha siddhyati. Only by constant effort, continuous effort, isn't it? Never lose interest in that. Consistent, constant, continuous perseverance, effort alone, this manasaha nigraha, the mental discipline, becomes accomplished. So he says, and how must be one's perseverance? It will be like, emptying the ocean. Emptying the ocean with the taking drop by drop with the blade of kusha grass. So he says, Udadehe utsekaha kushagrena ekabinduna yadvat bhavet. Now, just as Udadihi, I told you already, Udakam means water, Udadihi means ocean. So, Udadehe utsekaha. Utsekaha means emptying. Utsechanam means actually spilling away, taking, isn't it? Sechanam means, in fact, sprinkling also. So, utsechanam means what now? Iraithal. Vari iraithal is called utseka. So, emptying of the ocean with a blade of grass, drop by drop. Kusha agrena, eka binduna. Eka binduhu, one drop, isn't it? Every time you take, only one drop goes. Because what do you use it with? Take the water with the blade. Not you. You can take a big pot. But here, even the bird. If the bird has to remove the water and empty the ocean, drop by drop, with the blade of grass, isn't it? And then that bird must really put in lots of effort to do that. Similarly, it needs lots of effort for one to even to have that mental discipline, the qualification required for this knowledge. We have to remember one thing, always I say this in the class, Hamji says this, accomplishment of moksha is very easy. Attainment of knowledge is very easy. But preparing the mind for knowledge alone is difficult. Isn't it? If you have money in your purse, it is difficult for you to get into the car and drive the car to IKEA and choose all that you want to buy, pay the money and bring it home. Is it difficult? It is not difficult. Earning money alone is difficult. Isn't it? Spending money is not difficult, and then shopping is not difficult. Earning money is difficult. Isn't it? The same way here also. So, manasaha nigraha tadvat, isn't it? It involves that much effort. But still what now? Aparikhedataha bhavati. But still, by perseverance, it is accomplishable. Okay, let's go to the next one now. Okay, so here these two verses, 40 and 41, he gives the solution for, he presents solution for the people who are unqualified for knowledge. What should they do to attain knowledge, to enjoy the benefit of knowledge? This is what he says. They should take care of mind. Mind should be taken care of. Pay all your attention to do all possible efforts to improve the quality of your mind. No choice. No shortcut method is possible here. What should I do to improve my mind? What should I do to improve my mind? I told you last class itself, isn't it? If you have to improve the quality, the texture of the cloth, the very quality of the yarn must be good. Isn't it? It is the quality of the yarn used to weave the given cloth material determines the quality of the very fabric. Similarly, if you have to take care of the quality of your mind, you have to take care of the quality of the thoughts which constitute the mind. So, quality of the thoughts. So, because you are not the creator of your thoughts, therefore you cannot undo the thoughts. Thoughts just come. Jealousy, anger, hatred, raga, dveshas, greed. Very natural. All these thoughts are natural. All emotions are very natural. Nothing is wrong. So the quality of the thoughts have to be improved means how? Only always, when those, only by governing your expression of those thoughts. See, in order to, I repeat the sentence again, to change the quality of the mind, we need to take care of the very quality of the thoughts which constitute the mind. And how to take care of the quality of the thoughts? How can I change? Because I am not the creator of my thoughts. The thoughts alone become expressed in terms of what? In the form of actions. So external physical activities are actually expressions of your thoughts in the form of sankalpa. So the speech, the words you utter are also what are expressions of your thoughts. What you speak, oral, physical activities. And also, isn't it? So thought, word and deed, we always say, should be kept in alignment. It's called integration, integrity. So the thought, word, if the thought, word and deed are in alignment, they're identical. If there's integration, then also what now? The thoughts are really, thoughts can be, you can improve the quality of the thoughts. One more thing to understand. See, whenever desires in terms of likes and dislikes, ragaha or dveshaha arises, the desires arise in you. First, the desire comes, I want to go to the class. And that desire later on, I must go to the class or I am going to the class. Then it becomes the decision, isn't it? The decision to do a given action always follows the desire which rises before. The decision for performing or doing a given action, following the desire which comes in your mind, is sankalpaha. And what is sankalpaha? Sankalpaha means the decision to do a given action following the desire which arises in your mind is called sankalpa. The sankalpa alone becomes what now? Becomes expressed. Sankalpa alone is expressed in the form of action, physical or oral. See, you just said, I should go to the class. This decision, I want to go to the class, then I should go to the class. I decide to come to the class. The decision is made. Then you come to the class. Like this, always any physical activity is what no expression of your thoughts. Therefore, when the sankalpa comes, always you can do what? Be conscious. This is what Swamiji says. This is what the Gita, Krishna says in Gita. Karmasu kaushalam yogaha. Discretion in action is yogaha. It is not mere efficiency or perfection in action. It is discretion in action, which means how alert you must be and sharp you must be, that to be conscious of, to take care of every action that you do. Before, it's very natural for the desires to come. It's very natural for it to make a decision. But before implementing the action, you see whether it is against dharma or not. Against dharma, it is conformity with dharma. Like focusing, this is called discretion in action. Only by taking care of these actions, what you do, how you do, why do you do. When you take care, in due course of time, the quality of the thoughts can be changed. Which means, second thing, similarly what you speak also, what you speak must be contextually relevant and useful. You need not speak everything everywhere. You need not speak lies. You should not speak lies at all. You need not speak all the truths also. It does not mean you should tell lie, isn't it? So it's called what now? So avoiding the contextually irrelevant, unwanted, unnecessary, useless talk. It's called what now? Loose talks, isn't it? All this is all what, which means you're very conscious. Is what? This oral discipline in speech, discipline in external activities. You have to take care because they're all expressions of your thoughts. That is why sometimes we say something and we afterwards, we don't mean to hurt. We say, sorry, I did not mean. Which means what? Why you said that? You really don't mean. But you have said. But what the other person will say, you said it, which means it cannot come out from a word if it was not in your mind, from our thought. Isn't it? It happens. There are always a word uttered, anything done externally is expression of our thoughts. So if we focus, we really take care of our active, external physical activities and also the speech, our words, then also what now? Now even the thoughts come sometimes. You really see those thoughts. So this helps you to change slowly in due course of time, change the quality of thoughts. That is why a simple one sentence we say, living a life of karma yoga. That's why overnight it is not possible to change the quality of thoughts. Overnight it won't work. That is why it's right now. Udadehe utsekaha eka binduna kushagrena yadvat. That is why here it's very important to be prayerful also. Very important. Always pray, worship, and genuinely seek grace also. Not merely seeking grace all the time. You make all possible efforts to live a life of dharma, physically, orally, because all your external activities are all expressions of your own thoughts. You can't undo your thoughts. This is the difficulty. You cannot destroy, undo, or give up your thoughts. So the thoughts that's why your actions must be governed by your ragadveshas, or your actions must be governed by your personal likes and dislikes, or they should be governed by your knowledge of right and wrong. So what I speak, what I do, what I think consciously, I should see that they are governed by my knowledge of right and wrong, not by my just likes and dislikes alone. So in due course of time, it will help you to improve the quality of mind. You can become adequately pure and steady, qualified. Okay. This next. Okay. Now the 42nd, 43rd, 44 and 45. In these 4 verses, Gaudapada Acharyaji discusses the obstacles we have in, naturally one will have in contemplation. Last class itself we started the topic of contemplation, isn't it? Contemplation is for whom? Contemplation is not for... What is contemplation first of all? Nididhyasanam. Contemplation is meditation. But here, what is the object of your meditation? The object of meditation is the very swarupam of the meditator, the very subject of meditation. The meditated object is not an object other than the very meditator, swarupam. Therefore, the object and subject itself is what? Is the very object. That is why in contemplation there is no duality, division is not there. What is that? The meditator, meditated, division is not there. Because the meditated is what? The very meditator's swarupam. Nididhyasanam. And nididhyasanam, which means the dwelling, for which, what should you do? You must be dwelling upon the Vedantic teaching, dwelling upon the fact you have clearly understood through Shravanam and Mananam. So how can you dwell upon the teaching if you have not done Shravanam and Mananam? That is why Nididhyasanam should always follow, can always follow the Shravanam and Mananam. Therefore, The Vedanta, this Nididhyasanam is not for Jnanam, not for moksha, not even for any mystic experience. Nididhyasanam will not bless you with, will not give you any mystic experience. It is not for even validating the Vedantic teaching you had. Understand? It's not for validating. Not to see whether the teaching tallies with your experience, isn't it? It's not for that. Nididhyasanam is not even for Jnanam. Nididhyasanam is not one of the 6 pramanams for it to give you Jnanam. Then what is Nididhyasanam for? Nididhyasanam is only for reinforcement or assimilation or ascertainment of what you have already clearly understood. This alone Nididhyasanam can do. If you have already eaten the food, then later on for assimilation is possible, isn't it? If you having starved for so many days without having eaten any food at all, then you say, I am waiting for assimilation of the food, means it is impractical, impossible. Assimilation should always follow what? After eating. You must have eaten, then you can say, I am waiting for assimilation. You must have done Shravanam, then only Nididhyasanam is possible. Okay. Then I want to tell one more thing. So these are all a few things you have to remember here. And then, so how to do contemplation, how to practice Nididhyasanam or contemplation. See, there are many ways of contemplation. See, because contemplation is a meditation, should I sit in a proper posture, a posture and all, if you ask? Really speaking, for contemplation, all that you need is mind with clear knowledge of the Vedantic teaching which you have already got through Shravanam and Mananam. So how the body should be, how you should be sitting, the posture, the position is not at all important. Understand? What you need? The mind, focused attention, undistracted, unagitated, calm, serene mind. You need not serene mind alone. You should need what now? Clear, doubt-free understanding of the Vedantic teaching. So constantly, continuously dwelling upon the Vedantic teaching is Nididhyasanam. Don't need to really make big efforts to sit, how to sit and all that. It can be in many forms. So you can think all the time, thinking of the teaching, or talking about it, discussing about it, sharing it. Tat kathanam, tat chintanam, tat prabodhanam, anyonyam prabodhanam. Discussing among, not with people who do not know anything, okay? Discussing among people who have equal, clear understanding. Discussing again, don't go and argue with people who don't believe in it and all that. Discussion should be with the person who is equally, interested in the teaching and who sits and studies with you. Discussing, sharing, talking about it, thinking about it all the time is also what? Nididhyasanam. And so all the time thinking of the teaching, dwelling upon the teaching, discussing the teaching, talking about the talking, it's what now? Even sharing becomes what now? It's called Brahmabhyasaha. Nididhyasana is also called Brahmabhyasaha. Brahmabhyasaha means not exercising the Brahman or anything. Brahmabhyasaha means, repeatedly dwelling upon the teaching is called Brahmabhyasa. Why? Subject matter of the teaching, subject matter of the Shastram is Brahma. The Vedantic teaching is what? What is taught is Brahma. The main subject matter of the Vedantic teaching is Brahma. Therefore, dwelling upon subject matter of the Vedanta Shastram, the teaching is what? Brahmabhyasaha. As Krishna said in Gita, na kinchit na chintayet, which means to the exclusion of everything else, one should focus one's mind, attention on teaching. This is Nididhyasana. Apart from that, there's also formal. Generally in meditation, when for meditation, the position is important. How you sit, how should the seat be, how should you sit, what should be the position, how everything should be kept on line, the head, the neck, back, etc., the trunk of the body, Samam kaya shiro grivam dharayanna chalam stiraha, keep everything in line, on one line, straight line, etc. The position, how the one should sit, how the place should be, etc., all discussed for meditation. And for contemplation, that is not very important. However, cleanest and quietest place, on a comfortable seat, you go and sit also. If you have not done any shravanam, what is the use? So that's why it's meaningless. When people say, we really like to go there, quiet place, so beautiful, so silent, very nice, it's like being with God. All emotional blackmailing. Okay, even if you're in a jungle, where people want to go, what will you dwell upon? If you haven't done any teaching, you are not exposed to teaching. See, you go with the noisy mind wherever. The place, even here, everywhere, place is okay. People are crazy about these places, People are really crazy. Oh my God, very noisy, want to go to a quiet place. It's true, better to be in a quiet place. It doesn't mean you should really go in search of a quiet place. Teaching is important. Shravanam is very, very important. First, the one who wants jnanam and moksha, first one should do is what? Shravanam. And along with the Shravanam, what should one take care of is one's mind. Then everything will fall in its place. Anyway, what I want to say here is, for the regular meditation, the position, posture, the place, everything has to be taken care of. For Nididhyasana, it is not very important. But there's another different types of contemplation, different ways of practicing this contemplation. Simply all the time, repeatedly doing Shravanam also will be contemplation. Repeatedly listening to the Shastram. Pauna Punyena Shravanam also become repeatedly listening again and again and again and again and again. Listening also is what? Without getting tired of listening. In fact, the more you listen, the more you should be interested in listening. Isn't it? We get tired means somewhere some problem, which means you're not understanding. The more you understand, the clearer it becomes. There's some joy. Always the enhancing clarity should bless you with greater and greater and more joy. That is why How to from Nididhyasana? Don't worry. See that, listen to the teaching systematically as much as possible. Repeated listening will become Shravanam. Nididhyasanam. Easiest method of Nididhyasana. Shravanam means not simply once in a week Shravanam. Okay? The Shravanam, if you every day if you listen, always you listen. You try to spend as much time as for possible for listening. Shravanam, then Nididhyasanam. Understand? This also becomes Nididhyasana. Because all the time you try to keep on listening. Now I have no time. Then that's a different problem. I'm not compelling. See, Nididhyasana means all the time thinking. Thinking of what? The teaching. That is why this is Nididhyasanam. There's another method of Nididhyasanam is Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam. Practice of contemplation through the practice of Samadhi. This is not actually, it's called Vedantic meditation also. Here, Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam, I taught you even in Drik Drishya Viveka text. See, which means we use Patanjali Maharishi's, the steps used in Ashtanga Yoga here for contemplation. I think also discussed this in Aparokshanabhuti. Different ways, isn't it? So here, the practicing the eightfold limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, you not practicing them, using those limbs for dwelling upon the Vedantic teaching. The steps you take, the very helpful, useful steps. Take those yogic practice, yogic steps of meditation, then use it for contemplation. There's for formal meditation, and then for this you can also take care of position. Even though the position and posture is not very important for contemplation, are not important, but still to practice Samadhi Rupa, Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam, the contemplation through the practice of Samadhi, in the form of Samadhi, is also what? You can take care of your position, posture, etc. So these, what are those really limbs of yoga which can be used for here Vedantic meditation, called contemplation. I'm not saying please be careful. Here when I say we are using the yogic steps of meditation for contemplating upon subject matter of the Shastram or the teaching means, I'm not asking you to practice the yogic steps. We are using those steps for contemplation here. But what are those steps? These are all not discussed here. Okay, those steps are not discussed here. It is discussed very clearly where. Okay, elsewhere we talk about it later on. But now, what he wants to say, he does not discuss the yogic steps, how to use the yogic steps for contemplation, but he wants to say the possible obstacles one has in contemplation. Why does he discuss these possible problems and obstacles we have in contemplation? If we know what these obstacles are, then, isn't it? Then you can understand. Then you will also you will know the remedy for resolving those obstacles also, so that your contemplation will be proper, obstacle free, so that you can enjoy the benefit of, reap the benefit of practicing contemplation. Nididhyasana abhyasa phala praptihi is possible only when you resolve these obstacles, possible obstacles one can have in contemplation. I'm not saying definitely these obstacles will be there. These obstacles are possible. It depends upon how much shravanam you have done and how carefully you have done, how clearly you have understood the teaching. All these things are important, isn't it? Then, suppose when you practice this, I allow it to discuss again later on next class those steps. Now we go by these verses, because in these verses he does not talk about those steps of contemplation. Okay, the yogic steps used for contemplation are not discussed here, but he straightaway discusses the possible obstacles which can arise in practicing contemplation. And contemplation is discipline prescribed for whom? This is a prescription for, not for the Uttama Adhikari, definitely not for Adama Adhikari. Contemplation is prescribed for Madhyama Adhikari. Immediately don't decide now, I am not a Madhyama Adhikari, I am Adama Adhikari, so I don't need to come to this class and I don't need to know this now. Even if you are Adhamadhikari, still you can learn of itself to remember later on, isn't it? It's all part of Shravanam you are doing now. Anyway, even though this very, isn't it? Even if you think, I'm not saying, I'm not really determining, I'm not categorizing, grading you as Uttama or Madhyama. You know whether you are Adhama Adhikari or Madhyama Adhikari. If you are Adhama Adhikari, do what needs to be done, but better know also, isn't it? If you are Madhyama Adhikari, Uttama Adhikari, then well and good, no problem. Madhyama Adhikari means definitely it is, contemplation is prescribed. Now what are the possible problems? Now he actually, Shastram talks about 4 types of obstacles. First one is layaha. First let me tell you everything, then I'll go to the verses. Layaha, vikshepaha, number 2. Third one is kashayaha. And 4th one is rasa aswadaha. I enumerated beforehand, okay? These 4 obstacles and the remedy for solving these obstacles are all presented here in this 4 verses from 42nd to 45. Layaha, vikshepaha, kashayaha, rasaswadaha. Now, let me tell you, what is layaha? Layaha literally means layittu iruttal, isn't it? Remaining engrossed is called layaha, one meaning. But in this context, layaha means sleep. You are so fresh, but when you sit for contemplation, because preparation for contemplation is also almost like the preparation for sleep. You relax your body and wear nice, no? I get into loose pajama. Everything's getting preparing. Slowly close your eyes. That is the preparation for sleep, isn't it? What is the preparation for meditation, contemplation? When I say meditation, I mean contemplation only. The contemplation is meditation for us. So here also what happens, because you relaxed and slowly close your eyes, and you suppose your mind must start dwelling upon the teaching. But what happens? You fall asleep. I sat for meditation, but ended up sleeping. In meditation or contemplation, even in otherwise also, even in simple meditation also, people fall asleep. In class also we sleep. We are not listening sometimes, isn't it? Layaha. See, when you're supposed to sleep, you sleep. That's a different thing. But why do we sleep? Whether class or meditation, especially when you sit for contemplation, it is possible. In meditation, people can fall asleep. Even Gurukulam we noticed. When Puja Swamiji comes and sits in the morning 6:30, people all would have noticed. Some people come for meditation class and then you can suddenly hear. It's a guided meditation class itself. When Swamiji is sitting there and he's talking in early morning classes, suddenly one noise will come. Which means other people wake up who are asleep. People who sleep without snoring, they wake up hearing other persons snoring, isn't it? Why we fall, this layaha is there. Isn't it? This layaha is called a layaha, problem 1. Then, this layaha is because of inadequate sleep. Inadequate sleep. If we deprive ourselves of having enough sleep, then sleep is possible during the practice of nididhyasanam. Therefore, definitely the person who knows the value of contemplation, who's totally... See, when you're given to the practice of contemplation, nididhyasanam, your focus must be... for you, contemplation is the most important. It must be a priority. If contemplation is your priority, nididhyasanam is your priority, and you should see all that is required for disturbance-free contemplation. Which means the person who is interested in contemplation should take care of one's sleep. However it is, whatever it is, that is why in the name of spiritual, religious, practices and things, one should not deprive. One should learn to be disciplined also. Definitely, that way I really adore our doctor. Whatever it is, morning he gets up. But I don't know whether he goes to sleep early. Now what I'm saying, everyone should definitely see that one has enough sleep. If you want to be a good, really benefit from contemplation, see that you have good sleep. See, good sleep, adequate amount of sleep is required not only for the contemplation, also for other problems, isn't it? That's why sleeplessness can lead to insanity, madness, degree of depressions, all sorts of problems. That is why when people go to doctors, first thing they keep on blabbering and talking unconnected, Then first thing they seduce them. Give sedatives, put them to sleep. Only then they'll talk about it, like other things, to manage them also. So sleep is very important. Not only that, inadequate sleep, sometimes even overeating also is responsible. So the person who wants to contemplate has to take care of the amount of food one eats. What I eat, how much I eat, how I eat, also should take care of. And eating tamasic food, old food, very, very, very old food, a lot of frozen food, why I had to say here? We do have, sometimes helplessly we do that. Also, it's all tamasic food, everything is also one of the reasons for your falling asleep. Then second thing, sometimes even if you eat proper food, adequate amount of food, and even if you eat that, sometimes because of some dysfunctions in the body in terms of indigestion, some sort of problem, isn't it? Etc. also can contribute for the slumberness. It is the mind can really go into inactivity, or that can become sleep, isn't it? Therefore, to prevent, one has to take care of one's functions, physiological functions. See, you want to contemplate, but take care of what now? Physiological functions. The systems function are okay. Also, that's why you can't think of practicing contemplation when you get 80-year-old, 90-year-old. Time is very precious. Don't wait for, okay, Shravanam. Start with Shravanam immediately. Be with the Shravanam. So at least, it will work later on, at least some time. So therefore, take care of the functions, take the food you eat, and good sleep. All of them should be taken care of to avoid this one problem called layaha. It can happen in meditation, contemplation. Okay. The next one is vikshepaha. See, vikshepaha, because you heard the word vikshepaha. Vikshepaha means throwing up, literally, isn't it? Kshepanam, kshipati, vikshipati. But throwing up. But there, I talked to you, we use the term vikshepaha, elsewhere you heard as vikshepa shakti of Maya, isn't it? Now Maya and avidya. Prakriti's gunas, isn't it? But we are not talking about that vikshepa here. Here, as a problem, as an obstacle pertaining to the contemplation or meditation is called vikshepaha, means mental agitation, restlessness, or distractions, mental distraction. You see, you understood very clearly the teaching, okay? But now you are not enjoying the benefit of the teaching, which means you need to contemplate. So you sit and you try to dwell upon the teaching. But what happens? Teaching is very clear. You try to dwell upon the teaching, but immediately something comes to your mind and mind gets distracted. The distractions, isn't it? You understand the teaching, but you are not able to constantly contemplate upon or dwell upon the teaching. Why? The mind is not sitting with the teaching. What an unfortunate thing, isn't there? People who don't even understand Shastra. And Bhagavan has blessed you with that much, isn't it? But you understand the teaching so well. You are very clear. But once going out of the class, again you are not able to think of the teaching. Tat kathanam, tat chintanam, tat anyonyam prabodhanam, all the time, to the exclusion of everything else, to be able to dwell upon the teaching is not possible. Why? Distractions. So many distractions. Therefore, vikshepaha is a distraction in terms of restlessness. Agitations is also what now? Is a problem. Distraction is caused by what? Agitation, mental agitation. What is this reason? Caused by what? If we say, it is our attachment to the things and people in the world. Caused by likes and dislikes. See, ragadveshas, our own ragadveshas, likes and dislikes. The cause for the vikshepa is unmanaged, isn't it? Or you can say, not properly managed ragadveshas or attachment. Even though you understand everything in the class, but still the vikshepa is still there. So attachment means what again? Is it wrong to have attachment? Attachment means having concern for people or children or relatives or friends is very important. Having concern is different, isn't it? At the same time, and even having desire for some certain things also is not a problem. But here attachment is being dependent on them for your security and happiness is attachment. Somewhere the attachment is still the lingering, the craving is still there in you. Still there is a value for the external world, value for objects and people and relationships in the mind. Lingering value is still there. That is what now we say, because of which, even though you understand the teaching, you are not able to dwell upon the teaching all the time. The vikshepa is the problem. Okay? So, to manage the vikshepa, what do you need? To sort out this problem of vikshepa, to avoid the agitations and distractions and disturbances during mental disturbances during your contemplation, all what you need to do is, it is very important to sort out this problem of vikshepa by vairagyam. This is what Krishna says beautifully. What now? Vairagyena grihyate. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. In 6th chapter you heard this. Arjuna tells, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavadrudham. Balavat dridham pramathi. Isn't it? Chanchalam hi manah Krishna. Krishna, understand. I understand the teaching. It's very clear. But why am I not able to focus my attention on the teaching? Isn't it to assimilate it? I'm not able to, because still distractions. Mind is so distracted. Some Shraddha you have, come to the class. Some Shraddha is there, you understand everything. By Bhagavan's, you have some punyam, Bhagavan's grace is there, understand. But still, I'm not able to, all the time I'm not able to be with the teaching. Being means what? Being with the teaching means, having the teaching, remembering the teaching in the mind all the time. Because my attention is distracted by so many things. That is because of our raga dveshas and also what? Attachment. So how to, can you give up attachment? No. What is attachment? You cannot give up attachment. Please understand. To tackle this problem of vikshepaha, an obstacle in contemplation, to avoid the restlessness, distractions, the disturbances of the mind during contemplation, or to be able to be contemplative, all that you need is to develop dispassion. Dispassion means what now? It's only vairagyam. Vairagyam is very important. Vairagyam alone can help you. What is it you need now? Vairagyam, dispassion alone will help you manage, tackle this problem of vikshepa caused by attachment and ragadveshas. Attachment implies what? Ragadvesha. Likes and dislikes. So attachment means actually being dependent on, still in spite of studying all the time, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha, understanding everything, still attachment is there. It is just, isn't it? Attachment means what? I feel I'm still dependent on the world, I'm still dependent on people, and still dependent on relationships, I'm still dependent on things in the world for my security and happiness. I know, studying Vedanta class, what do you understand? It is the knowledge. Self is the only source of security. Self alone, reality is the only source of security. Reality is of the nature of happiness. Nothing in the world can give me happiness. Nothing in the world will make me really, what now? We know all those things, but still, what's the problem? Still, there's attachment. Still, we are dependent on the world for our security and happiness. That's called what? So, distractions are caused by raga, dveshas and attachment, which has been managed by dispassion, developing dispassion. Now, next question comes, how to develop dispassion? To develop dispassion is going to give you the solution later on. All the time reminding yourself of the facts, being with the reality. Facts. See, how you cannot become dispassionate overnight. That is why from the beginning, a sadhana chatushtaya sampatti itself, you would have developed what? Adequate amount of dispassion. That is why you are able to, isn't it? The dispassion is not enough. You have to develop dispassion. So how to become dispassionate? I had to become dispassionate. I had to really, the degree of dispassion I have must be such that I can manage. I'm free from attachment. I'm free from attachment means what? I'm free from raga. I'm able to manage them. Which means all the time reminding yourself of the fact. What it is, what now? Everything else in this world is mithya. Everything comes and goes. Therefore, nothing is permanent. Everything is impermanent. Therefore, nothing can give you permanent sukham. And then always attachment will leave you, will result in great sorrow. It will make you emotionally shattered. We enjoy the company of a person, husband or wife or children or parents. As long as we are blessed with the enjoyment, we are blessed with. And suddenly, one person goes. Isn't it? Because you're attached means what? Respect the person, live with the person, be truthful to the person, give all warmth and care to the person. When the person goes, we should remember, this relationship, this association, it will not give me, nirantara sukham. Everything is subject to go. Wife can die before, husband can die before, parents can die before, or sometimes children go before the parents also. Anything can happen. Which means, that is why there's not dependence. Dukkha, isn't it? This, in this life, see, birth is unavoidable, death is unavoidable. What is, we can say, the changes are unavoidable. Old age, my God, even though we die, we're not able to stop the hair becoming, at least we have no problem. Sometimes black hair turns to be white. We can color, but still we can't convert it into black, isn't it? Only by coloring you can do that. Show. But it is the jara, vyadhi, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha. And everything here is what definitely, separation is fraught with pain. Dukkha, dosha, darshanam. Really, you have to all the time remind yourself of the fact. A mature person should remind yourself of the facts. Nothing in the world is permanent. And everything is mithya. Everything is really like a puppet. Everything is not puppet means what? Everything here is like a dream. How your dream jewelry, dream diamonds, dream holiday, everything is when you wake up from sleep, isn't it? Similarly, this what you are enjoying now, everything also is like a dream only. It is not really, it's all mithya. I mean, really non-substantial namarupas. Will not last long. Reminding yourself of this fact will help you what now? Will help you to become detached, to be dispassionate. Detached means what? You will enjoy the company of people, you will enjoy the objects available, everything. At the same time, you will not be dependent on them for your permanent security and happiness all the time. Anudarshanam, isn't it? Being conscious of the limitations of everything in the world. Seeing the limitations, being conscious of the limitations of everything else except the Atma, isn't it? Atma is of the nature of limitlessness. The entire Anatma Prapanchaha other than Atma is subject to all limitations. No? That means they cannot make you absolutely happy. Nothing can make you happy. It's called seeing the limitations of everything. Now, understanding the limitations that they cannot make you happy always, thereby growing out of attached desire for them, not being dependent on them for your happiness is what? Being dispassionate. The dispassion one has to develop. The more and more you remind yourself of the facts, try to be with the facts, even though it is very bitter. No, the mature person should be able to understand the facts and accept the facts and be with the facts. Okay? Being with the facts is the only way you can develop your dispassion. The more you are dispassionate, the more you are free from, more you are detached, no, more you are independent. Detached means what? Being independent. Now more emotionally emotionally dependent means you are attached. Emotionally independent means you are detached. Not physical distancing will not help. Physical distancing, physically avoiding is not, keeping, oh, I don't talk to my husband, means it is not a detachment. I run away from here. Okay? Physically going away from somebody is not detachment. But emotionally, knowing the limitations of any relationship associations, be emotionally independent of the person for your happiness and security is dispassion, detachment. Physically be together, physically be with wherever necessary. I'm not saying go on all the time. Whatever you need to, but mentally you have to be, independent. Which means being independent mentally means you are not dependent. Because you know the fact that this is not going to make you happy. Your happiness is only in knowing what you are, knowing what the truth is. Because your Swarupam is happiness. This is a fact. Your Swarupam is what? Security. This is what the facts. Reminding yourself of the facts, thereby being dispassionate, will help you manage your mental distractions and agitations, which is called vikshepaha. Second problem. Is it clear? Second problem in contemplation. Why distractions? Then the third problem is called kashayaha. Kashayaha is the third problem. Kashayaha means not Ayurveda medicine, okay? Kashaya means sukkuvellam vote. Not that kashayam here. The kashayaha here is what now? Mental stagnation. See, this other extreme, isn't it? Either you fall asleep, the problem of sleeping, falling asleep, or distractions. This is no, one is sleep, one is mind. The first problem is mind becoming totally passive, isn't it? The next is what mind becoming totally active, restless. Now the kashayaha, so stagnation means this is caused by sometimes it is inexplicable, also sometimes explicable, inexplicable, the worries and pains, disturbance, in the problems in subconscious. Or sometimes the emotional, too deep, much deeper emotional problems. Too much of worry, the depressions. Sometimes some big shocks happen, is it? Something really, and then you're not interested in anything, which means mind is not really, it is lost in one thing. It is not available. It's a kashayaha for the Vedantic teaching, isn't it? Stagnation, sort of. Somebody comes and tells something shocking news. Immediately say, my God, as soon as I heard, I didn't know what to do. I couldn't move. I couldn't get up. I didn't know what to do. You say that. Immediately you don't know how to act, isn't it? ஸ்தம்பிச்சு போயிட்டோன்னு சொல்கிறோம் இல்லையா? எனக்கு கை காலே ஓடலை. We say, I don't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. We say that. Such, it's called stagnation, it's called kashayaha. Mainly it is in subconscious also, this problem happens. Subconscious means sometimes it goes deep down into your mind all the time. Something takes all your attention. Something, in some worry in your mind, takes your attention totally. It doesn't go to anything else. Which means your focus is on one particular worry. Something worry, isn't it? Your total meditation, what is the object of meditation? Worry. Which means attention is not available for anything. It's called stagnation. Understand? Repeat. That's why when such people, when you go and talk to them, they'll tell you one thing 10 times. Okay, finished once, if you told me, why are you repeating it? Other person will feel bored. Whenever you repeat, somebody repeats to you the same thing, understand it's an expression of the problem of kashaya. Okay, they say some problem was there, they told you once, they finished, isn't it? 10 times, 100 times. Why repeat? Because they are not able to drag the attention from that something is worrying them, some hurt, some guilt, some hurt, some guilt. This is a kashaya. Now somewhere your expression of helplessness also. Madale doctor poirunda. Why did we tell? If we went to the doctor, mother, lots of things, some things, all the times, lots of things. The hurt, the deep down in a thing, the hurt, the guilt, or something, some fear. Also repeatedly you will repeat sometimes. There's also what it's expression of the kashaya. The mind gets stuck there. Okay, mind gets stuck. You are not able to grab your attention from that worry or the problem, not able to focus on the Vedantic teaching. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, Kashayaha is different. Kashayaha means you're stuck in something. What Shastram says, don't get stuck with that bothering problem, but leave that, and your mind should get stuck with what? Brahma Swarupam. We are stuck with teaching, fantastic. If your mind gets stuck with the teaching, it's fantastic, isn't it? But mind doesn't get stuck with the teaching. It gets stuck elsewhere. Physically, the person is not with you all the time. You know your mind is stuck. And somebody says something means we are traveling on the train, the bus, the aircraft. Still, the problem that your mind is stuck with some problem. Then that's why Swamiji always says others carry with you. They travel with you without tickets. Where? Sitting in your mind. Which means. Now, what I want to say here, this is, see the difference in the problem. Layaha, mind becomes dull totally. Not contemplation, the dwelling doesn't happen. And in Vikshepa, mind is distracted because of the lingering. I wanted to use the understand that word, lingering attachment and value for things, still ragadveshas. And Kashaya is stagnation. Stuck. That's also not good. What should do then? Whenever such things happen, you have to see, then you should see yourself being, what can you do? You can't do anything about it. That's there. So there, you have to remind yourself, I am the witness. Just try to be the witness of that problem. Sakshi Bhavaha, isn't it? Try to be, I am the witness, is there in the mind. Because you're not creating it, isn't it? Trying to be, I am just the witness, this is the mental condition, it is there. All the time, it's very big practice, very important thing. I'm the witness of this problem. That will help you to manage that. And try to be witness of that. Stuck means what? Then that helps you to be objective. Okay. The Nakashayaha. The last one is Rasaswadaha. Rasa, with this, stop, you can go for tea and come back. Because we had to do the same thing, what you understand now, I'm going to do with the text. I'm preparing you before entering into the text, okay? The fourth one is what? Rasa aswadaha. Rasaha means juice, essence, isn't it? But here rasaha means pleasure. See, rasaha means happiness, fullness. Rasaha means, here pleasure. Aswadaha means tasting. Tasting the juice is a rasaswadaha. But here is what? Tasting, the enjoying, remaining engrossed in pleasure is called rasaswadaha. Inbathil thilaithirithal is called rasaswadaha. But see, this rasaswadaha is an obstacle in contemplation. What is rasaswadaha? During contemplation, see what happens. The layaha, vikshepaha, kashayaha. Sleep, passive mind, active mind, isn't it? And then stagnant mind, look at this. Layaha means what? Passive mind. Vikshepaha means what? Active mind. Highly active mind. Kashaya means stagnant mind, stuck mind. Now, rasasvadaha means, see, when you practice meditation, sometimes what happens, it happens in regular meditation, any meditation also, okay? It's a problem in meditation, problem in contemplation. When you're practicing meditation, it is always possible for you to have what now? Some sort of, the mind becomes, what happens, because the thoughts are all resolved, there is sort of the pleasure. Because smallness resolves. The attention, the object of meditation holds your attention. Therefore, what happens? There is no I sense, sort of, and then there is no smallness. Therefore, then there is a pleasure. There is no pain, there is a pleasure. In Samadhi also you have this. Sort of a joy. When that joy comes, sometimes you forget yourself that you like that. No? It's very nice because no pain, no pleasure. It's a no pain, no pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's a sort of, the mental condition where there is no pain. Then what you experience is what? When there is no pain, what you experience that time is a pleasure. And that is very enjoyable and nice. If you do not take care of this problem, what will happen? That is why people who are given to this practice of meditation, who happen to enjoy this pleasure, the mind, they're easily irritable people. And they want to be in that quiet mind. If the mind becomes calm and quiet, and have a joy there, therefore what happens? They don't want to be disturbed. Such people, in fact, they will not like any noise. They will be easily irritated. Even the phone call will irritate. Knocking at the bell will irritate, disturb them. And the children, especially children, come and jump and then make all sorts of... Children mean they'll make all sorts of mischief. They'll be very noisy. And then when they make noise, this person gets irritated. And then many people coming home, they won't like. All sort of... they avoid even interactions also much because there's some sort of a rasasvada, practicing meditation all the time. They don't like all those things because they don't want to be disturbed from that pleasure. They're so used to that. Here you have to remind yourself of this fact, how to tackle this problem of the obstacle of rasasvadaha. So that pleasure you experience, the painlessness you experience during the practice of contemplation is only manifestation of fraction of fullness, your swarupam. What you experience during the mental calmness, agitationlessness, isn't it? The mental calmness, the serenity when you experience during the practice of contemplation is not your, what now? Is not your swarupam. Your swarupam is fullness. Your swarupam is happiness. What you experience is only manifestation of, what now, fraction of fullness. You can say any pleasure, any joy. Okay, that's a modaha, pramodaha, any joy, any pleasure. What is pleasure and joy? Absence of pain is equal to painlessness is pleasure. There's no pain, nothing. What is there then? Pleasure. There's no dukkha means what now? There's no worry, there's no pain, there's no disturbance. Means the mind is not disturbed by any pain or jealousy, hatred, anger. Nothing is there. Mind means what? That's a pleasure. Disturbance free mind is what? Then there's a pleasure. So it is as good as a sensory pleasure. How while watching a television, or listening to some nice music, when you're engrossed in music, or watching some nice dance program, or eating some tasty food, thinking of all the food, when you're very hungry, and in front of you, sumptuous, tasty, delicious food in front of you, and you eat. When you're eating the food slowly with the good people, or people who like also having them and you eat, there is a pleasure. And watching something, there is a pleasure. Program, in listening to something, there is a pleasure. So any sensory object, any sense object, enjoyment of desirable object also what now? Holds your attention. Then where mind is totally absorbed in a given object, then again what you have is what? Pleasure. The pleasure, it's only what now? The pleasure, the state of mind you experience that time. When the attention is held by some given object, the pleasure is not from the object. Because you forget yourself in enjoying the object. Then for a length of very short while, the essence is resolved. Therefore, the smallness is resolved. There is what now? There is no pain. There is no worry. That's called is what now? Manifestation of fraction of fullness, which is your Swarupam. I explained this very beautifully long ago when I explained what is pleasure. I defined the pleasure very carefully. Now I'm not doing much, okay? So that pleasure, when you enjoy the object, any sense object, and when you're totally engrossed in the enjoyment of sense object also, when you forget yourself, mei marand, we say that, no? You forget yourself, when what you have, the mental state you have is what? A pleasure. Inbam, adha inbam. Unnai maratthirutthal inbam. Listen. So anything when you are engrossed somewhere, you forget yourself, there is pleasure. But that pleasure is what now can be easily disturbed. It's not permanent. Why? Because it's only manifestation of fraction of your Swarupam. Similarly, what about the pleasure? That the same way, the attention is completely meditation, in contemplation, in meditation. The total attention is focused on the teaching means. The whole Vedantic teaching means there, isn't it? There's nothing which can trigger your smallness. There also you experience some during contemplation also what now? The teaching grabs your attention totally, so that the mind is what? Free from agitations. Then also you have the pleasure. See, while practicing meditation or contemplation, there will be an experience of pleasure, a certain degree of joy. The joy or pleasure experienced during that contemplation should not be mistaken for your Swarupam. That is only manifestation of fraction of your Swarupam, the fullness. Suppose you get engrossed there, then that becomes an obstacle. Why? You need to see, I the self am fullness. My Swarupam is fullness. What I experience is only manifestation of fraction of my own Swarupam. So I don't need to long for it. Is it? Why? When I am original fullness, happiness. And what I experience during the time is what? Only my reflection. Why should I go after the shadow reflection when I am myself fullness? Understand? The understanding is very subtle. Hope you see that. It's called rasaswadaha. Understand? The problem. These are the 4 obstacles we have in contemplation. We go back, now go for a tea, come back, and we'll discuss that.